Hello everyone, this is Dr. Farley. Just wanted to give you some information about the upcoming annotated bibliographies. Giving you an impression about the nature of the work, the types of information they should contain, why we're completing them, all that sort of stuff. So I hope this presentation is helpful to answer all those questions. So what are they for? First things that we're going to do when we're completing this research project obviously was to define what the project is going to be. But from there, from that sort of starting point, we need to gather information. So as we're doing that, we are going to do it in the format of an annotated bibliography. And so there are going to be three main components to each one of the sources that you find for your bibliography. These sources are listed here and include a MLA citation, the full citation, the summary of the source, and quotes that you are pulling from that source that you think you may eventually use in your papers. So let's go through each one of these and talk about what they mean. So the MLA citation. So it says here this should be the full correct citation, so you don't have to do this at a later stage. So just think about how this citation would appear in your works cited page. So it typically will start out with author's last name, comma, first name, etc. So the best resource you have for this is the Purdue OWL website, which it can be linked from the course resources section. That'll give you an idea of a lot of different possibilities and gives you examples of how to work through those as well. Summary. So one of the student learning outcomes for this course is to be able to summarize sources, and so it's really important for you to do this at the bibliography stage, because a summary essentially is a chance for you to think about the big concepts, the sort of bigger picture. Take a step back from all the particulars in the material, which is coming next in the quotes. So oftentimes, after you've already found quotes, you can take a step back and do the summary. I know I've listed it second here, and I think it's useful to have it second in your bibliography, but chronologically speaking, it might be easiest to do it when you've finished with those first two. Again, this should be very conceptual. It should be a sort of thinking about the big ideas of the source, to think about what types of things from a meaning standpoint are there. So from analysis standpoint, so what are the messages that that author is trying to say, for instance. When you're thinking conceptually about the source, it is going to help you at later stages of this process, when we are tying our sources together and creating an outline. Obviously, you're going to do that conceptually. You're going to include, for instance, sources that are different sources, but they're talking about the same sort of topic or idea. And so this will help you in the organizational phase as well. Other important information you should be thinking about while you are looking at your sources is, as I've listed here, background of the author or publication. So, whatever information you feel like will be necessary to be able to adequately introduce your source in your paper, you should find that information at the bibliography stage. So, if it's a publication we've all heard about, say like the New York Times or something like that, you don't really need a lot of work there. If it's a particular journalist for the Times and you have some background on them, say they're the chief sports editor, or they work in the business section or something like that, that could be useful information to use for your paper too. So you should be thinking about the big concepts of your paper. You should be thinking about the source itself and gathering all that information in your summary. Of course, you're going to need something to use in the paper itself, and so that's where the quotes come in. And this could be really anything, including visual representations. If you find a great graph or something, infographic, even a picture or something like that, and you want to use it, I'm perfectly happy for you to do so. Anything that creates value for your reader in your paper is a legitimate source, and so consider it as such. You'll see some examples here. I have listed statistics, quotes from influential people, politicians, other famous people, or people pertinent to your subject. Besides statistics, there's results of polls or surveys. There's other factual information. As I said, there's sort of visual sources and other things as well. There's artistic sources. It could be a quote from a movie or a song. It could be a painting or something like that. It just depends on what you're writing about, obviously, and not all of those things are going to be common sources for our particular topic, but just think about sources broadly, because that's what this course is all about. It's about synthesizing information from a wide range of material. So things to help you. So those are the three constituent parts. You're going to have MLA citation. You're going to have a summary of important bits of information from the source, as well as from the author or source itself. And you're going to have the quotes. I suggest you finding as many quotes as possible for your source. While only one quote is required, a minimum of one quote is required, I find that students who find only one quote per source can really struggle when we get to the outline and writing phase, because if that one quote doesn't fit perfectly, now they're going to have to go back and do research when they should be focusing on a different task. So it's easy at this stage to just kind of cast your net broadly, gather up any information you feel like is interesting. If you use it in your paper, awesome. If you don't use it in your paper, not really that big of a deal. But you will have it in front of you. You will have it as an option, and it just gives you the most varied and ideas to choose from when you're actually sitting down to put your paper together. Again, in order to help you, there are some samples in the course resources section. Like any sample of any student work, they're not perfect. They're just there to give you an idea of what your bibliography might look like. So just take a look at them, and you can see what students have done in previous semesters. Content. So you should be thinking, obviously, about where you might put this information in your paper. So just some key considerations as you're thinking about your sources. Obviously, most of your sources will fall in the body paragraphs of your paper, but you can equally have some for your introduction or conclusion or conclusion. In terms of introductions at this stage, if you're trying to figure out how to piece together your topic, just think about what are some of the key aspects of this issue. So try and take that bigger topic and break it down into some more specific ideas and those key aspects, and then think about how those might need to be explained in your introduction. One key thing to think about always is who's involved, affected, concerned. Who are the people sort of in this bigger picture of your topic. Also, think about the legacy and the shape of how these things will go in the future. Finally, looking at body paragraphs, obviously, you're going to have an idea of what your topic is going to be. You have to figure out how to support that by using the expertise of your sources. And so that's what that support and evidence should look like. I hope all this information is helpful to you. And if you do have any questions about your bibliographies, let me know.